born on May 27, 1907 in Springdale, Pennsylvania. Throughout her lifelong career, she became known as a biologist, a writer, and an ecologist. From the time she was a toddler, her mother's love for nature sparked Carson's interest for all things outdoors. Carson began her education at Pennsylvania College for Women, where she graduated in 1929. She then continued her studies at Johns Hopkins University, where she graduated with a master's in zoology in 1932. Carson began applying the knowledge she had gained to completing research at Woods Hole Marine Biological Laboratory. In 1936, during the Depression, an opportunity arose and she was offered a job at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, where she first wrote radio scripts. But she would continue to expand her career into the position of a scientist and finally an editor. In 1952, Carson resigned from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to focus her career on her writing. It was in the same year that she wrote the award-winning The Sea Around Us. Then later on, in 1955, she released The Edge of the Sea. These two books made Carson a famous naturalist and science writer. Dichloryl diphenyl trichloroethane, also known as DDT, was developed as the first synthetic pesticide in the 1940s. DDT was initially used to fight malaria, typhus, and other insect-borne human diseases. DDT was also used for insect control in the crop and livestock production, institutions, homes, and gardens. However, DDT was found to cause adverse environmental effects to wildlife as well as to human health. Many videos were produced of DDT being sprayed. The videos that documented the reduction of wildlife after the U.S. Department of Agriculture began the use of pesticides, as well as a letter written by her friend Olga Owens Huckins from Massachusetts about her house and bird sanctuary being sprayed with DDT, and finally a Long Island, New York lawsuit that involved numerous testimonies from experts about the hazards of pesticides were things that alerted Carson about the harm DDT was causing. Rachel Carson took on the chemical industry and raised important questions about mankind's impact on nature through research and case studies. Although in 1958 Carson was known as a best-selling author, she could not get a magazine to publish her article on the effects of DDT. On top of her career setbacks, Carson also faced health hardships. In January of 1960, she learned she had a duodenal ulcer followed by several infections that kept her bedridden for weeks, greatly delaying the completion of her research. However, Carson persevered and was able to publish her research on DDT in her best-selling book, Silent Springs. DDT was a very controversial topic during this time period. Carson's intent in writing Silent Spring was to warn the public of the dangers associated with pesticide use. Throughout her book are numerous case studies documenting the harmful effects that chemical pesticides had on the environment. Along with these studies, she explained how in many instances the pesticides had done more harm than good in abolishing the pests they were designed to destroy. In addition to her reports on pesticide use, Carson points out that many of the long-term effects that these chemicals may have on the environment, as well as on humans, were still unknown. Her book, as one critic wrote, dealt pesticides a sharp blow. After several conclusive studies were done, most scientists agreed that Carson was right about DDT. This pesticide was banned from use, and further pesticides were questioned and studied thanks to the findings of Carson. Rachel Carson passed away April 14, 1964, but her work did not die with her. Carson left behind a legacy of prestigious environmental research that still impacts the world today.